Howdy everyone. So obviously I've been making some progress on the airplane. I believe, where did I leave off? I believe I left off talking about putting in this cross brace, which is now complete, at least as far as I want to take it at this point. So next I've been working on the top skins in the back. I don't believe there are any real issues here. The only thing that I remember doing differently was the instructions state, they basically state that this bulkhead here is not here. That you put this aft skin on first, cleco it to this bulkhead, and cleco it to this bulkhead, and of course, around the edge. And then after you get the skin on, you're supposed to fit this bulkhead from inside. Somehow you're supposed to push it from the inside and then cleco it in place. Well, I didn't do that. I put this in first, and then I put the skin on. Of course, before you do the skins, you have to do these J-channel pieces, and mine were already made. I had cut mine. I left them long, but I at least cut them to length back when I did the J-channel for the fuselage, for this aft section of the tail cone. So all I had to do at this point was just trim them to size and then trim the ends so they would fit correctly. But you do your J-channel, have that aft bulkhead in place, cleco this skin on first, and then you can cleco this skin on, which is now obviously removed because that forward skin sits on top of this skin right here at this bulkhead. And there are some pieces you have to fit up here. There's a gusset that goes up here that you have to fit. And then you, just like everything else we've done, you drill everything in place. You match drill everything in place, and then you disassemble and do your edge finishing and deburring. However, do not dimple. Don't dimple anything. After you get your skins on, your J-channel on, and everything match drilled, disassemble it, deburr everything. Deburr all your holes here on the bulkheads if you haven't already. Flute the bulkheads. Deburr and edge finish the skins, but do not dimple because there's some other things that need to be fitted in here that are going to get connected in this area here, and you don't want dimples to get in the way of fitting your pieces. And there's some other things that need to be done before you dimple, so do not dimple. Just get it cleaned up and ready to go on to the next step. I think I've already talked about these angle pieces, so I'm not going to cover those again. However, I will say that using the jig that I had shown in my other videos, that worked out really well because when I got these skins put in place, those areas in question that I had used the jig on fit perfectly. So I've done that, and I am now fitting the baggage compartment, the cargo area rear bulkhead, which is here. And I've added some more blue tape just to keep some of the small metal shavings from finding their way into creases and recesses that I won't be able to get them out later. So I went ahead and pre-taped, and I'm starting to do some drilling with those plates. I don't know what you want to call these, bulkhead plates, I don't know. But anyway, here are the pieces. That's the main lower back wall area, and then this is the top one. So I'm just getting started on this. As I go through it, I'll try to catch you guys up real time on some hints. Until then, talk to you later. Alrighty, so I'm going to demonstrate how I do the nut plates for this bulkhead for the corrugated wall that goes here. So I've had the wall in place, and I match drilled through those existing holes to locate these holes here on this bulkhead. Now that I've got the holes in place, I used a small, here it is, I used this small level, and I just laid the level across the center line of the hole and then drew a line. So now that gives me a reference to put the nut plate. So now that I've got the ears, now that I've got the holes in place, I got these holes in place. I've taken each individual nut plate, and per the plans, an option is to run a tap through them to loosen them up, more or less. So I've done that. There are 18 nut plates to do this bulkhead. So I took 18 nut plates, ran an 832 tap through each one of them. Now I'm going to take that nut plate and, if I can find it, here it is. So I'll take that nut plate and 832 countersunk screw. And I like using countersunk screws because the countersunk head of the screw will kind of self-center in the hole, which I think is a benefit. So I like to use countersunk flathead screws whenever I'm doing this kind of work. So got the existing hole, I've got the tapped out nut plate. Now I'm going to run my flathead countersunk screw into the nut plate, and I'll spin this down by hand. And now all I have to do is align the ears, the holes that are in the ears of the nut plate. I just align those holes as best I can with the line that I had drawn. Believe it or not, that looks really good right there. So now I'll tighten the screw to hold it in place. Double check it, still looks really good. So now using a number 40 drill bit, I will come in here and drill one hole. Take your time, you don't have to blow through those holes all in one shot. You want to kind of take your time and make sure that the nut plate does not move. So now with that hole drilled, I'll put a cleco in. Now the nut plate is locked in, it can't rotate. That's it. So now I've got the nut plate nicely centered on the hole. I've got the two holes for the rivets to hold the nut plate in place in alignment with the reference line that I had drawn using the small level. Of course, you want to make sure the fuselage is level before you level out those lines for your nut plate. So now that that nut plate is in, all I have to do is take the screw out and move on to the next nut plate and repeat that process till I get them all drilled and located. So then, of course, next up at some point will be to take everything out, clean, deburr, and then dimple this structure. All right, so again, plenty of ways to do it. That's just my method, and it works fairly well.